Here we go. We're here. Come on. Ah, this is going to be fun. Yes, people. Come on. Nobody knows this song. Not a single person yet. We don't care. Good evening. Yes. One person. Welcome. Yes. This is going to be potentially outstanding tonight. Oh, yeah. Nobody knows what song this is. Nobody knows what song this is. This is Flight Facilities by and the song is called Foreign Language. And a foreign language music is. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to, I think we're going to call it, this is the decision, the Jack Christie Show. That was a song by a group called Flight Facilities. That was Foreign Language. Now, today, to continue the thoughts of what we're going to be doing of my idea, the Creators Symphony Orchestra, we're testing out how to potentially do like a musical analysis, but that sounds really boring. Basically, what I want to do is try and get people plugged in to, yes, we have one listener. Hello there. We're going to try and get people plugged into starting to understand and starting to feel classical music or any music that takes my interest, basically. So today we're going to do a piece that is actually quite important for me. Hello there. A piece that was quite important for me back in my university days. This was Appalachian Spring Suite by Aaron Copland, who was a specific American composer. He made music in the 20th century, sort of early to middle halves of the 20th century. And yeah, we're going to be talking about that today. But as I said, analyzing music is boring. All right. What I want to do this, and this is what I'm trying to bring together, is trying to bring music to people that doesn't necessarily understand or can't necessarily understand music at a specific level. I feel through my university training, I got to a specific understanding of how to read music, how to analyze music. And yeah, it can be very complex. I want to bring this down to people so they could understand and actually attach themselves, identify with the music that they're listening to. Whereas vast majority of people in this world, oh, it's going to be they don't like classical music. There's probably three groups of music listening people for classical music. There's the people that will never listen to classical music. There's the people that would have maybe a little glass of red wine and some dinner, and then a little bit of Vivaldi or some light Beethoven or Mendelssohn in the background, and that is about it. And then there's the people that are obsessed with classical music. They got depth, they feel it, they believe it, they see it, they hear it. It is part of their life. And they have it classic FM on first thing in the morning, and they go to the symphony, they live and breathe it. Now, I'm a firm believer of classical music is for everybody. Okay. Now, there's usually these like orchestral sort of things they're worried that all the young people don't like classical music. It's like, oh, 3% of the public like classical music. If we could get it to 4%, all the shortcomings and financial issues of our orchestras, it would all be over if we got it to 4%. And it's just way too many percentages and way too many thoughts. I've got a different philosophy. Everybody loves classical music. They just haven't found out about it yet. And the reason I believe that is because that was me. I had no idea about classical music when I was younger. I listened to some Scottish stuff, I listened to some pop stuff. I liked football. That was it. Violin was just sort of a little accessory thing that I did to sort of please my parents. But with this in mind, I got to university, started going through it, growing into things, and starting to understand pieces of music. I started to get a greater appreciation of what music is, what it could be, and how I could identify with it. And I ultimately came to a sort of massive conclusion with this specific piece, which we're going to talk about and talk through about tonight. And this was Appalachian Spring Suite by Aaron Copland. Now, Appalachia or Appalachian Spring Suite, well, there is an area of mountains on sort of the east, not the east coast, but on the east side of America, known as Appalachia. It's a series of mountains and sort of landscapes in sort of the not south, but like Virginia through Georgia, basically. Okay. And it was originally set for a ballet, and it was originally composed for a lady dancer, famous lady dancer, but this is important, by a lady named Martha Graham. She was an important ballet dancer in the mid 20th century. And yeah, the piece was made for her and she choreographed it. And basically, the story in this piece was a husband and wife start the day in country Appalachia, they fall in love, and they get married, and there's a celebration with their friends and family, and they go home. That's it, okay? And there's some other bits, and there's a bit of interpretive dancing, and that's it. There's a bit of themes of war, there's themes of love, isolation, a little bit of heartbreak, peace, tranquility, beauty, ultimately. There's all these little themes coming through, but you can't really feel that, all right? Now, I want to try and bring this both like through understanding what we see in the music and how that conveys it. So, let's crack on. This is the London Philharmonic Orchestra with the start of the piece. Let's see if this works. So I should be there. Nope. I'm going to go there. Nope. I'm there. There. Yes. There we go. And we're going to play. That's the beginning. You know what I thought probably happened in this bit? If you are so gracious to have got to 10 minutes in this live stream with me, you probably thought, sounds lovely. And I've got my piano attached to me, so I'm going to bring it over here. You probably thought, this sounds lovely. How peaceful. And then you thought, another few notes come in. There it goes. Good evening. There's one person with me. Excellent. You're in the middle of a musical analysis of Appalachian Spring Suite. Now, what is actually happening in this music? Well, I want to show you. So hopefully this will change. Yes, excellent. Now, the other beauty of American music is you can go into the New York Philharmonic Orchestra and you can actually see what is happening or what famous pieces are actually used, okay? Now, I'm just going to put this down here, okay? And you'll see at this bit that I'm pointing on, this is an A, okay? And this A sounds like this. And it says viola no 2 and viola start this. And they do this exactly same thing. This is the same note. They just go A, 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 and then they just hold it, okay? That's it. Then we move up to the top here. In the same place, we then get a C sharp. And then we get an E. And then back to a C sharp. And then an E. That's it. And basically, what is happening here is we start with 1. Okay? 1 beautiful note. The day has begun. All right? Music is here. Then we add in another note, which was the C sharp. And that's just to say, it's a lovely day. And then the E is just to top up again. And all these played together is an A major chord. And all that is just telling us this is home, okay? And the key of this piece is A major, okay? Now, what happens later on, okay? We get the same again, but then the violas start this bit, next bit. You get A in the cellos. You then get C sharp in the violas, just right here. And then we get an A back in the violins. Oh, we've got a new note. E and a G sharp. It's not part of the thing. This is something new. Then we move on to the next bit. It's exactly the same. And then we turn the page. We have the C sharp still coming through. And then we have a new note. Now it's starting to get a little bit murky. It's still the same environment. Then we get an add in a new note, which would be F sharp. F sharp just comes in. And actually, what we're doing is we're building on this feeling of home, okay? We're getting this build of A, which we've now got together a little bit higher. Then we've got our G sharp way up the top. Then we have a new feeling at this bottom. We've got this note, 3 notes. Ooh, a little bit more reflective, a little bit more nostalgic. That all is played together. Isn't that... Oh, where are we? If I play all that together, this beautiful hazy feel is what I get from that. Nice hazy feel of just a morning dew looking over the mountains. Where are we? Where are we? Where is it? We're home. Okay? And that's all this is doing. It's just setting the scene. All right? And all of this, that I'm showing you on the screen is us just setting the scene for the start of the day. Okay. Now, analysis of music can be quite taxing. I'm going to leave it right there until we get the middle of the new morning. Doesn't this sound beautiful? And at this point, I want to just say think of a time, okay, of when you were young, you were innocent, and maybe you were just sitting outside on a field, in the trees, in the forest, and it was a sunny day. That feeling of innocence, that feeling of home, that feeling of peace. Okay? Now, throughout the rest of this music, we go through excitement, we go through love, we go through attachment, we go through celebration, we go through prayer, and then finally we get to back to home. Okay? Now, these three, all these notes that I played earlier, we had F sharp, A, D, E, A, B, C sharp, E, and G sharp. Now that sounds quite expansive. If I joined that all together and put them side by side, it would sound messy. That sounds messy, doesn't it? But when we spread it out over much more space, it feels much more fantastical. These notes, okay, the F sharp, A, and D, create a D chord. A, C sharp, and E, but actually it's E, A, C sharp, create an A chord. And then the last one, we've got B, E, G sharp is an E chord. We've actually got three chords all played at the same time. And more specifically, we've got three major chords all played at the same time. And it comes back to that feeling of peace, that feeling of content, that feeling of home. Throughout the next 20 minutes, all those notes are used in different combinations of these patterns of three. It dances around like it is a ballet, trying to convey these different emotions. I want you to feel at the same time, feel that understanding that we've started at one note, we've then grown to three notes, then we've put different three patterns of three notes together, and see how that shifts, how that moves around, and how the tempo fluctuates to create that different feeling. And at the same time, I want you to think of that story that you had of that peace, sitting down on a lovely day when you were young, and then growing up, maturing, finding somebody that you may have loved or found something that you really are passionate about. You grow into it, you find a sense of community, you win or achieve or fall in love, and you celebrate this emotion. Then after it, you then start to go home after a tough day or a long day. You've spent a lot of energy, and then finally you're back home and you're resting. Follow the notes from 1 to 3 all the way through, gets excited into different sections, feeling different emotions, to then back to 3, and then back to 1 at the very end, and you're home. That's what I want you to do listening to this piece. Here we go. From the beginning. Still messing around with these 3 notes. Oh, no. That's a nightmare. Hopefully that's come through now. Excitement, new day. Peace, come back again. New scene. Fear. Party. Feelings of home. Slight change. A new day. Here we go. New person. introducing each other. Starting to enjoy each other's company. A dance together. Country line dancing. Marriage. Ceremony. New day. Getting ready for the big day. Anticipation. Doubt and excitement. Back on track. People arriving for the ceremony. Last moments of Singletown. Thinking of home. Missing home. Thank you for the 5 listening to this one. You may know this piece coming up next. It's called "'Tis the Gift to Be Simple." A hymn for love. Ceremony is over. The party is on. Love and full force. Day is over. Going home. For some rest. Same bye to everybody. Home. Well, we have one left. That's hilarious. Well done for staying. Thank you very much. Much appreciated for staying with me for that sort of 25 or so minutes. I think it's a beautiful piece, being honest. Starts with the one note as it starts, peace, simplicity, all the way through. Then we get these three notes together. Then we start mixing around, dancing around the different scenes and emotions. Then we get to the wedding day, big celebration. And ironically, with a hymn called "'Tis the Gift to Be Simple." Now, that piece, or that little section of the music, "'Tis the Gift to Be Simple," as you'll probably heard, or it's more famously known as Lord of the Dance from Michael Flatley's Lord of the Dance, the end in tune. Now, that originally was a shaker theme, or a shaker hymn, and the shaker hymns were found, guess what, are the Shakers, which is a subsect of Quakers, which is a subsect of weird Christianity. It was found in Appalachia. And it was this random little hymn that only a few people knew. Tis the gift to be simple, tis the gift to be free, tis the gift to come down where you ought to be. And when we find ourselves in the place just right, 'twill be in the valley of love and delight. When true simplicity is gained, goodness me, let's see what the words are. Tis the gift to be simple. Let's try and find the words to it. Tis the gift to be simple. Lyrics. Here we go. Right, let's share this. Tis a gift to be simple, tis a gift to be free. Tis a gift to come down where we ought to be, and when we find ourselves in the place just right, 'twill be in the valley of love and delight. When true simplicity is gained, to bow and to bend, we shan't be ashamed. To turn will be our delight, 'twill by turning we come round right. Isn't that nice? Nice wee little tune. And that is the main theme of the piece, obviously. And I find that quite weird. Copland actually found this piece as a hymn from the Shakers, and he was the one that made it famous. He then put it in this piece. This is where it became famous. It got a music Pulitzer Prize in the 1940s for when it came out. He then changed it for just orchestra piece, as we've heard it there, rather than solely a ballet piece. Then he changed it into some solo versions, some brass only versions, and then Michael Flatley then took it for Lord of the Dance and became a much bigger tune than we know it today. But it originally stemmed from a Shaker hymn. So hope you've enjoyed that. I know we've currently just have one. That could be me. I don't know. if you're we've got second person, excellent, and then probably going to leave. Hope you've enjoyed. Hope you get some knowledge, education from this. I'm going to be trying to do this maybe once a week, trying to analyze a little section of a piece and trying to listen through it to sort of hopefully get a community of people wanting to learn about classical music in a sort of open and approachable way, rather than just talking about notes and chords and structures and all that. Don't care about that. What's the music saying? What is the music telling the audience? What is it telling the listener? And how can we attach that story along with a bit of the nuts and bolts? That's how I listen to classical music, and I got that idea from a guy called Benjamin Zander. And if it's not working, well, then the people's eyes and ears are not lighting up. I hope that your eyes and ears have lit up tonight, even just a little bit, in this Make You Do live stream. And yeah, hope you enjoy the rest of your night or day or wherever you are in the world. Thank you. Take care and see you in the next one. Cheers.